Hey sisters, and welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by Pure Spectrum CBD. Sirak and I have been taking CBD and we are loving it.
I'm holding the tincture right now. Tallene, can you open your mouth, please?
Now?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a dosage. Now, keep it there for 60 seconds. While she does that, let me tell you the great benefits of CBD for PCOS. Studies show it reduces cortisol, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation. You can go to purespectrumcbd.com now to order and use the code THESISTERHOOD, one word, at checkout for 20% off. Now, Tallene, hold it for 30 seconds longer while the sisters enjoy the show.
Welcome to A Sister and Her Mister, a podcast where we show you the real behind the scenes of how we balance the PCOS lifestyle in our marriage, gluten and dairy free. I'm Tallene, your fellow sister and registered dietitian.
And I'm Sirak, husband, engineer, and PCOS personal trainer. We're going to make PCOS a little less overwhelming and a lot more fun. Well, hello, sisters. Welcome to episode 34 of the podcast.
Welcome, ladies.
And this is probably one of the most nerve-wracking podcasts I will do in a long time because we're currently live to about 200 or 150 people watching this as we're doing it.
We're live on Instagram. We're live on TikTok. We're recording for YouTube.
I feel like we've hit a fourth wall because we were talking to the sisters directly, and now we're talking away from from Instagram. We're talking to the podcast.
Yeah.
While they're still listening to us.
Yeah.
It's very interesting times.
This is really interesting, but I'm feeling it. We love it.
Yeah.
Sirak, the producer, in charge of all of these freaking cameras.
So for anybody that's listening right now, you can always follow us on Instagram and have an opportunity to watch an episode live like right now.
Yeah.
We haven't done a live episode recording in a while. I think we did one with the 10th episode of the podcast. It was called PCOS Q&A, where we took questions from Instagram and we basically just answered them live.
Yeah, that was fun. We recorded the live, basically, and answered questions.
Yeah. Let's see what people are saying on the live before we move on to the topic of this episode.
By the way, we will be doing a hotline live, and not live. It's going to be recorded on the podcast. We're going to answer some questions from the hotline, so you can always ask there.
The best thing about the hotline is it gives us an opportunity to literally play your voice on the podcast, and maybe you'll hear your own voice being played, and then we answer it right afterwards. So it's our favorite thing.
Exactly.
Let's see what people are saying. GLM says this is such a fun idea. Your sister was saying that this is so exciting. And then we have somebody else saying, I feel honored to be live here.
Oh my gosh, how funny. You're on our podcast, girl.
And I see a question, which is something that we just recorded about. The question is, how to motivate myself to stay consistent with the lifestyle? Because I always mess it up when I don't get results. Great question. We literally just recorded an episode about this. And the funny thing is you would have already heard this episode if you're listening to the podcast. But to answer the sister on the live, do you want to talk about the episode that we just recorded?
Yeah, basically this episode was a bit of a reality check, but like a motivational push as well. Because lifestyle change takes time. Like one day you'll be good at it, the next day you won't. But if you keep in mind why you're doing this and how preventative it is for you to make these changes, because women with PCOS are at risk for so many other diseases, then you get really a little bit more buckled down, and you really want to make these lifestyle changes happen. And you realize, and later in the episode, the previous episode, we talked about how to make this a lifestyle, how to give yourself some leeway and practice lifestyle change like a muscle and strengthen it. And it'll take like a year if it has to. Who cares? Keep trying.
And the 3 pillars of the episode were basically to motivate you, to make you help be consistent, and kind of get the right mindset when it comes to tackling PCOS and overcoming all the different symptoms. So it's a great episode to kind of learn about it. And if you haven't listened to it yet, it's the previous episode number 33. All right.
Great to help you stay motivated.
And so let's get on to I don't know which camera to look at, that one or that one.
Sorry, YouTube. We're not looking at you.
But so today's topic is about how CBD can be beneficial for PCOS.
That's right.
Many of you have heard about CBD, and there's a lot of information about CBD. It's been touted as this great fix to everything and all this like jazz. But obviously, just like any other supplement, it's a supplement. It helps to improve certain things like inflammation, and we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is a supplement, but it can have a huge impact on PCOS. So that's why we're talking about it today.
Yeah, if you don't change your diet and you just just take CBD, you can't expect everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because inflammation is the core, like the root of all of our PCOS problems.
Yep.
So we want to tackle it in every way possible, whether it's diet change or supplements. And one really popular supplement now we're talking about CBD.
Yeah.
Sidak's been on the CBD train for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And he got me on it. And then I was like, well, what does this do for my PCOS? And turns out it does a lot. So we're going to be talking about that.
So let's get into it. What is CBD? That's like the first question I kind of want to go over.
Tell us.
Because there's a lot of like, obviously, when you first hear about CBD, the first question people ask is, wait, is it marijuana? Am I going to test positive for weed? Am I going to, if I have a drug test at my job, am I going to test positive? And absolutely not.
No.
So CBD is derived directly from the hemp plant, which is a cousin of the marijuana plant. It does not contain high amounts of very high amount of THC. In fact, when they make CBD, it's completely taken out of the whole plant. So it does not produce a high, nor does it cause you to test for THC. When it comes to hemp plants, it literally has 0.3% of THC, and they actually remove this when they are making the CBD supplements.
Wow.
So just keep that in mind. And the reason they use hemp is that it has a lot higher dose of CBD than like a marijuana plant. Marijuana plant usually has a lot of THC and stuff like that, and a very low amount of CBD. Well, the hemp plant is the complete opposite. Very high amount of CBD, very low amount of THC, which is removed when they make the CBD products.
That's good, because I know a lot of people keep asking, like, will I get high from it?
Yeah, you will not. I was taking CBD for many years, and I had an engineering job, and I never tested positive for a drug test or anything like that. So don't worry about any of that stuff. Unless you smoke marijuana, then you're gonna test positive. So, what are the symptoms that it can help with, babe?
Okay, well, with PCOS, I was like, I got hooked on this CBD. I started feeling really good. Every time I took it, 15 minutes later, my anxiety was like from a 10 to a 4, at least.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck is this CBD thing? How is it helping my PCOS?
Yeah.
So the thing with inflammation and PCOS is that, when you have a lot of inflammation, you're like twice as likely to have depression and anxiety and things like that. So by taking CBD, you're really treating the inflammation portion of PCOS that's driving these like mood disorders and so on. So that's why CBD is super helpful. It's super anti-inflammatory, and it helps like reduce the inflammatory markers like cytokines from in your body. And one study even showed that CBD reduces cytokines by up to 87%.
Yeah.
This is our body's inflammatory response, and CBD is able to modulate that. 87% is a lot, and I physically feel it. Like, it's not even a joke.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
like 100% would mean basically it's reduced by half. So 87%, it's almost like reducing your inflammation by up to half. So that's a great sign of like how it can help you is reducing that inflammation, which we know, especially for a lot of women with PCOS have autoimmune related disorders, which many times have, which is like inflammation. Yeah, the root cause. So.
Yeah, not just that. Sometimes I hear sisters complain about joint pain and things like that. And honestly, it's because we have so much inflammation and, those rashes on our skin. Like when some sisters go gluten and dairy free, you might find that your skin gets better and your body feels better, and it's like weights lifted off of you. You don't feel as depressed because this inflammation isn't constantly, like chronically running through your body.
Yeah. And with PCOS, like we know that inflammation is one of the most prevalent underlying symptoms.
Right.
So it's like one of the ones that really causes the other issues to be more to be worse. Like insulin resistance and such.
Yeah, and then that drives further other issues that snowball from it, like metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, and so on. So it all comes back down to inflammation and what we're doing to heal it.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything we recommend is anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Whether it's diet, lifestyle, so on.
Yeah. And then before we get into the different CBD products out there, just to note that hemp, there's like two different kinds of hemp products. There are CBD, which we mentioned earlier, is completely THC free and is basically what we're talking about here. And then there's something called hemp seed oil. So I don't want the sisters to get confused on this, which is why I'm talking about it. Hemp seed oil is not the same as CBD.
Oh.
Hemp seed oil is more of a supplement that has the dietary fats and other, so like MCT oil and like that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So hemp seed oil, while it may have very little amount of CBD, is not CBD. So I wouldn't say go and take that.
Oh.
If you're looking for CBD products, look specifically for CBD products and not something that says hemp seed oil or hemp oil, something like that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And I want to mention, like, CBD has been like shown not to just help with inflammation, but it's also shown to be helpful in treating epilepsy in children and seizures better than any of the prescribed medications out there right now.
Wow.
And it's one of the few ways that I learned about CBD at first was I was listening to these kind of like, I don't want to say who they are, but these famous people, and they were talking about their children and how they've tried almost everything to help with their child's seizures. And they were basically like crying, and then they talked about how they were suggested like this high dose of CBD and how it completely reversed the symptoms of the seizures and the epilepsy symptoms for the child. And I was like, wow, like this is really doing something. Yeah, it's really doing something for people out there. And of course, it really helps with anxiety, insomnia, chronic pain, like with inflammation, as Tanya was talking about earlier.
Different doses help for different levels of extreme like issues.
We'll get into the doses too.
Yeah, totally. But I'm just saying, like, someone with anxiety can benefit from like a little bit. Someone who has epilepsy might need like a doctor's prescription for like a lot more. Yeah. And so on. So just because you don't have epilepsy doesn't mean that like it's not gonna benefit you.
Yeah, of course.
1 second. Let me turn Sirak's mic a little bit.
How dare you?
That's right.
How dare you get in my face like that? This mic is my mic, and my mic has never had issues.
I am looking at you, and your mouth is not where it should be.
I'm still talking to it. How dare you? Talene never speaks into the microphone. I have to do extra editing every single time to make sure her voice is just as high as mine. And then people are going to be like, oh, how come you're making your voice louder than hers? I'm not. This lady will not speak into the microphone no matter how hard I try.
Well, these past couple episodes, I've been doing a great job. Yeah, and now I'm correcting you.
You have been. Well, thank you. Well, what is it saying? The student teaches the master? Alrighty, so let's get into the specifics of things.
Specifics. I was listening to something. I was reading about. I was like all over the CBD train, preparing for this podcast.
We did a lot of research for this podcast episode.
And I learned that CBD products have something called terpenes in it. And terpenes, like one example of a terpene is limonene, and it's found in citrus fruits. So when you smell an orange, you relax.
Yeah,
right?
It boosts your mood.
Yeah, they put it in diffusers and stuff, and they say that these like smells will relax you. Well, yeah, it turns out like these terpenes, all these different types of terpenes do different things. Yeah. And CBD has like an array of terpenes in it. Yeah. And them working, the full spectrum CBD has all these different terpenes that work together in something called the entourage effect. Yeah. Where like it really makes you feel relaxed and really good like after taking it. So like
Yeah, so I was just going to go into the 3 terpenes that you were talking about, but I think you were going to do that, so I won't interrupt you.
Linalool. LOL.
One of the terpenes.
It's used to help with like sleeping and anxiety, and they use it in aromatherapy. Limonene from lemons, it boosts your mood, reduces inflammation.
But it's found in lemons, it's not from lemons.
Oh no, yeah, it's also found in lemons. And it works together with other terpenes to make them work better, like the entourage effect. Humulene, it's an appetite suppressant and anti-inflammatory. I mean, there's so many different terpenes in CBD that work together. Yeah. And scientists have been studying terpenes for so long now, and they're realizing all of these therapeutic effects that it can have on you. And you can buy like certain types of CBD that work specifically for sleep, like based on the terpenes in it and so on. But we use the full spectrum.
Yeah. So the important thing with the CBD is that like it should contain all of these terpenes because, like Tanya was talking about, it's literally called the entourage effect. And what this means is that they're able to work together in conjunction with each other. So the reason why this is important is that not all CBD products are created equal. Not all CBD products have what's known as a full spectrum. So when we talk about these terpenes and the cannabinoids that are available from the cannabis plant or from the hemp plant, you have to keep in consideration that not all the products that you find out there will actually contain all of them.
Yeah.
Because in the manufacturing process, in order to save money and cut costs, these they go through a filtration process to kind of clean out, and a lot of times CBD products will remove some of these cannabinoids and some of these terpenes, and then you don't get the full effect. So so like obviously Cysters know that we do have a podcast sponsor. They are called Pure Spectrum CBD. And I just want to tell like the story of how we came across them. I used to take Pure Spectrum CBD I am taking for the last 2-3 years before they were ever a sponsor of the podcast. Because when I did my research, I found out that they have the full spectrum of all the terpenes and cannabinoids. So me and Tyne have been taking it for like the last year that we've been married, and I've been taking it for longer than that. So we obviously came into contact with them, and we helped to make them a sponsor of the podcast and also give you a discount. So if you go to their website, purespectrumcbd.com, you will receive 10% off using the discount word, the sisterhood, one word. But I just want to say that they're a sponsor of the podcast because we truly believe in their products, in their CBD products. And anytime that you do find a sponsor of this podcast, just be aware that we only put sponsors that we agree with, that we know,
that we take, that we do,
that we personally take.
Live by.
Not a Vestal. I don't personally take a Vestal, but that we
except when he steals my cup on accident.
Yeah, so we really trust them, and that's why we suggest them. But of course, if you find a CBD company that is also a full spectrum, feel free to use that brand as well. This is just one that we know of.
Yeah, we love this one.
Yeah. So
we forgot to take some last night. I just realized.
I actually took mine, not you.
How dare you?
I can't run around after you all the time.
You have to. I depend on you chasing after me with all supplements.
Where's my pen? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
So there's different ways to take CBD. One way is rubbing it into Sirak's neck every night to help with the strain, because he's always on the computer editing, right? And like you're staring at the screen, and like the two muscles in the back of your neck start clenching up, and like before you know it, it's a stiff rod. And hold on.
Oh, receiving a call on the live.
Okay. And before you know it, your neck's like a stiff rod.
Yeah.
And I have to like press the CBD into his neck. It feels good though. Does it work?
Yeah, it's like a CBD salt. No, it really does. Like it calms because there's a lot of like stress and anxiety happening on your back throughout the day. It's crunched up onto the desk. It develops like stress and stuff. So when you rub it down with CBD, it really helps me.
Yeah. But that's not like the best way to reduce anxiety.
I actually did a lot of research on this.
Tell us.
So there's basically like 3 major ways of taking in CBD. There is through the mouth, with a tincture. Yeah. There's inhalation, like through like a vape or something like that. And then there's the skin, like Tanya was mentioning. So the skin, actually, the absorption rate for the skin is the lowest, whereas taking it through the mouth is the best way. So to keep in mind as well, when you take CBD through like a tincture, you want to put it under your tongue and hold it there for 1 minute. And the reason is, so when you actually, let's say you eat CBD, like you just take it through the mouth and you swallow it without holding it, what happens is the liver metabolizes the CBD. This is known as the first pass. But when you do that, when the liver metabolizes the CBD and it goes through that first filtration system, a lot of the beneficial terpenes and cannabinoids that we talked about earlier are actually filtered out.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so what happens is you don't get the full benefit. But when you actually hold it under your tongue for a minute, the mucous membranes in the mouth actually absorb it, and it bypasses the digestive system in your stomach.
That's so interesting.
So that's the reason we always talk about holding it under your tongue instead of just swallowing it, and because this will actually what was it here? Yeah, this will actually make sure that your mucous membranes absorb it into your bloodstream and stuff.
Wow. I did read that, like holding it under your tongue,
Yeah.
for 10 to 20, not, I mean, we'll give you a response in 10 to 20 minutes because it's like the strongest
Yeah.
place to absorb it.
Yeah. And then just to go into like how to take it and stuff. So if you take CBD after a meal, especially a meal that's higher in fat, there will be a four-fold, meaning 4 times better absorbency of the CBD itself.
So after dinner.
Yeah.
When you're doing your nightly wind down.
Exactly. That's like my and Talian's favorite time to take it is right after dinner. Like literally right after. Like as I mentioned, when you have a meal, it absorbs it way better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like it sets up a good moment for you to kind of like start relaxing and get into that whole self-care routine.
I love it. You know what you should do? I read this. You should, or I'm going to start doing this. Take the CBD and put a timer for 20 minutes and literally rate how you feel before you took it and rate how you feel in 20 minutes and see if it actually made a difference.
Yeah.
I didn't do this, but I did notice that in 15 minutes, I was a completely different mood. And I was like, wait, what was I upset about? Like, I'm fine now. I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit more relaxed, you know? Yeah. But anyways, if you literally grab a pen or like take your phone, set a timer and like in your notes, type like how you feel before and after, you'll be amazed.
Yeah, definitely. And what Talian's suggestion is can also help you find the right dosage for you. Yeah. So like it's obviously very individualized and dosages always work differently for different people based on many different factors. But
writing it down like this will help you realize if that dosage that you took is enough. So if you didn't see any difference, then maybe like a higher dosage would work better.
Yeah. I mean, most tinctures come with most tinctures, they start off with 250 milligrams and then it goes to 500 and then it goes to 1,000 and more. We're currently taking 1,000.
We are?
Oh, yeah. We are.
Is that why it tastes different?
I'm not sure.
We used to take 500.
Yeah, we used to take 500.
That's why it tastes different.
Maybe, yeah.
Why didn't you say that?
I don't know. I don't know. You could taste the difference.
I'm sensitive to taste.
So, but again, that doesn't mean go ahead and start taking 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I should take some. See.
So like start off with 250 if you want, and then do what Talian suggested, like taking it and then seeing how you feel 20 minutes after, and then maybe you go on to a higher dosage, or maybe you start off with a different one. So it's just really individualized. And
what would you say about the gummies? Because I used to, like, someone sent me a free bottle of gummies. Yeah. Like an advertiser, and I took it, and I don't know.
I'm not sure because it all depends on like the digestive factors that I talked about and how your liver will actually filter out some of the beneficial. But I don't know. Maybe when it's a gummy, it's different. Like I don't know the chemistry behind that because maybe it's baked. So when it's baked, it's a lot different. Like I'm not aware of how the gummies work, but they do work slower, meaning it will take your about 60
to 90 minutes. Yeah.
So like it'll take slower to take full effect, but I think it can still work. I just don't know the specific chemistry behind eating it when it's a gummy versus an oil. Right. Yeah, because there's like whole baking and like what does the baking do to the things?
Yeah, and you're swallowing it. You're not keeping it in your mouth and sucking on it. I definitely just like swallowed it whole because I didn't really like the taste.
Yeah. And like you'll start to see a lot of the benefits start to kick in after like a week or 2 weeks. And it's like a whole like avalanche effect, right? It starts to do better and better and better for you.
Yeah, totally. It becomes part of your anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Yeah. I just want to note, like a lot of sisters, we have fatty liver. Mm-hmm. So if your insulin resistance isn't under control, you might find that you're struggling with something called fatty liver. And non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, it's called. Yeah. And so as you treat your insulin resistance and it gets better, that'll go away. But keep in mind, like when you take supplements like CBD, you want to take lower doses. Yeah. Because you don't want to hurt your liver. Yeah. Because it's already in struggle city. So like that's why when someone asks about alcohol too, I'm like, I don't know. It depends how your liver's doing. Yeah. How's your insulin resistance?
Yeah. So that is, actually, before we finish the topic on CBD, there is research that shows that there is a 3-fold, again, meaning 3 times increase in survival rates for mice who are given CBD when they have cancer. So like they're basically mice with pancreatic cancer and they gave them CBD and they had the ones with CBD had a 3-fold increase in their survival rates. And there's a whole bunch of other studies that basically mimic these results.
Wow.
In different ways and in different kind of like cancers and things.
There really isn't enough research about CBD and its benefits.
It's becoming more prevalent.
It is, yeah. But honestly, the financial interest of like pharmaceutical companies really trumps like a lot of beneficial studies that could probably show us the benefits of CBD.
No, you said it right, because like Tyne's saying, there's a huge like a big pharmaceutical like the lobby system that's basically like kind of preventing from CBD from probably going major.
The fact that all this time we've had this crazy prohibition of CBD, is it?
Well, it was related to just marijuana, which is also related to hemp. So because of that, something
so good for you for so long is taboo. I just can't even imagine.
Not to go fully off, but there's actually a reason for marijuana. That was why it was illegal for a long period of time. So the reason is, many of you know William Randolph Hearst.
Okay.
So he, as maybe
to us who he is.
Some of you know, was like owned like a huge newspaper. He owned paper mills and basically owned a lot of like paper production factories. And around, I forget the exact timing, but around the 1920s, 30s, hemp was like this new thing, and people were touting hemp as the future billion-dollar agriculture. Well, William Randolph Hearst didn't like this. Because what this meant for him was that he was going to have new factories. He was going to have to replace his paper mills. It was going to cost millions of dollars for him, and maybe, the whole
go out of business.
Who knows? Yeah. So basically, he started doing what they call back in the day as something. What was it called? Something journalism, where basically making up false stories.
Okay.
And marijuana was basically created. That word marijuana was created out of like all these like fake journal articles talking about how marijuana causes you to do this and to do that, and they were like literally blaming it on immigrants, and they were saying that immigrants were taking marijuana and doing crazy stuff.
Oh my god.
And basically through all of this, marijuana became illegal. I forget the exact date, but sometime in the early 1900s, and the real reason was because of hemp. And hemp was like this huge like $1 million like industry before all this was thing, and it was going to become even bigger. Like Henry Ford built the first car and like the dashboard and interior out of hemp. And like there was like videos of him like hitting it with a hammer, and it's like completely indestructible because it's like a very, very strong fiber. So there's like so much like there's so many benefits to hemp, just for like not just for like CBD, but also for like industrial purposes. But again, these lobbying and all these crazy
money,
it's just like it prevents sometimes from the best things from coming to the light.
Such an interesting story.
Yeah.
Captivating.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I wish I could have said it better.
No, you said it great.
I've read it and I've heard it so many times, but then trying to put it into the podcast in like 3 sentences without not thinking about it first is a little difficult.
No, you said it great. I'm sure everyone's standing there with their mouth wide open, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's very interesting stuff.
I mean, I'm feeling really guilty right now for not taking CBD for a couple days in a row.
All right, I'll dose you after this. Just like
I just don't like. I just want to point out, all this prohibition against like marijuana and CBD and whatnot. Alcohol has been legal for however long, and it turns people into belligerent, psychotic messes a lot of the time. Okay, drinking too much. Whereas when you smoke too much, you just fall asleep and become like a lazy citizen of society.
Sure.
Or nothing happens to you and you're just relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I've never done it, but like, I'm just saying. So how could you like have all this crazy prohibition against CBD and like, weed and stuff? Yeah. And people are out there drinking, become alcoholics and stuff like that. I don't even think you can get addicted to.
Yeah, in a world marijuana, where you can have all this, you can literally walk down the store and buy enough alcohol to kill you. And with marijuana, there's been no reported overdoses from people taking it.
Yeah.
So it's just like
they fall asleep before they get overdose.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't even like do that much because you have to literally eat or smoke pounds of it before you overdose. So it's just like, and then there's like pharmaceutical companies, giving out painkillers and all these crazy things to people who are then becoming addicted. Yet this one thing is still like having all this issue.
So much, yeah. Anyways.
All right. And then just like a FAQ, frequently asked questions, as we talked about earlier, it does not get you high. It will not make any, it will not give you a high feeling of any sort, and you will not test positive for THC. Almost all CBD products have a statement on there that says no THC. Even the one that we recommend, Pure Spectrum CBD, it says right on the bottle, no THC at all. So, yeah. It will not get you high, and it will not show up on a drug test.
That's right.
I feel like that's the usual question, because people are obviously
say it at the beginning, say it at the end.
Yeah, obviously it's an important thing to consider with anything, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
it's
don't be worried
there. It's just a supplement. You want to add it to your nightly wind down. Pour yourself some rosehip tea, rosebud tea, whichever. Drop some CBD in your mouth. And have your supportive husband play the guitar for you and just relax.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that's about it for the CBD portion. Now let's move on to the hotline.
Calling Bob.
Yes.
I'm going to call it that from now on.
Hi, I just wanted to know if Ovasitol helps you get your period back from not having it after a long time. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, great question. Obviously, Ovasitol is one of the supplements that we also recommend for insulin resistance and cravings. Babe, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, so it definitely has helped so many sisters get their periods back, like after not having it for years. You could give it a try. You don't need a prescription for it, but we always say consult your doctor if you're going to try anything new. But it's a supplement, and it helps with insulin resistance. And when you're insulin resistant, it triggers high testosterone, and then that high testosterone affects your period, and whether you get it or not. And it also affects Ovasitol also helps with progesterone and ovulation and egg quality, and making sure that, you're ovulating. And that's how sisters, along with changing their diet and taking Ovasitol, can get pregnant as well.
Yeah. Great response. Next question is...
Thank you so much for taking my question. I wanted to ask if you had any suggestions on pre-packaged or really easy to make snacks that fit into the gluten-free, dairy-free lifestyle that you suggest, but that might also help with not having too much sugar. I know for me, especially during the summer months, as a busy college student, I find myself just grabbing a bunch of fruit. And while fruit I know can be great, I also shouldn't be having a bunch of fruit every single time that I want to have a quick snack. So what are some suggestions that maybe I can find in the grocery store or make really efficiently when I have little time? Thank you.
Okay, good question. Basically, Cyster was asking about what are our thoughts about prepackaged foods, and even just, different kind of snacks and stuff that are gluten, dairy-free, and basically PCOS friendly.
So one of my favorite snacks is having like gluten-free crackers or carrots and things like that available, and then like a nice dip. So there's like dairy-free cream cheese, but then there's also hummus or avocado, like guac, or just like mash up half an avocado. You don't have to like make the guac or just buy guacamole, and that's like a quick snack that you can throw in your purse if you buy those little to-go containers of guacamole or hummus or something, or if you have like a little Tupperware container that you can put it in. I love that. I also make my own trail mix because I find that the ones in the store are too sugary. So I get my favorite like dried cherries and then some salted almonds and regular almonds, and then I mix it with like a ratio that I feel is best for me, so it's not like mostly cherries or whatever, and then put it in a Ziploc bag.
Nice. My favorite snack that's gluten dairy free is bean field chips. Can't believe you didn't mention them. It's basically chips made out of beans instead of corn, so it's high in like protein, high in fiber. Great replacement for like regular chips. There's always stuff like gluten and dairy free crackers and all this like this packaged snacks you can buy. But like I'm not really a big fan of like the processed stuff, because it's just like, even if it's gluten free, it doesn't mean that it's going to be completely healthy for you, because at the end of the day, it's a snack that's maybe like processed and stuff like that.
One snack that Trader Joe's sold that isn't like a processed snack is a bean salad, and they put it in this little Tupperware, and I think it was supposed to be like a side dish to a meal, but I ate it as a snack that day.
Yeah.
And it was like chickpeas with lemon and olive oil and sumac, and then some like chopped cucumber. And they just made this like Mediterranean chickpea salad. Then I like remake it now in our own house, like with dinner and stuff, but a little bit of that as a snack is great.
Yeah.
Like a bean salad. It's high in protein. It has some carbs in it. It's good.
Yeah. And obviously these are just some of our favorites, and we always like suggest that when you go to the grocery store, maybe try some new things, try some different stuff and see what you may like, and then you'll have a whole like plethora of things that you personally want to eat all the time and want to like try out all the time. So just see what you like and go from there.
Try new things.
All right. Before we sign off, we always do one thing, and that is the win of the week by a fellow sister.
That's right.
This week's winner, her name is
Athelia.
Do you want to read a bit?
Sure. She says, "Hi, sister. I actually sent a message on my 3rd week of going gluten and dairy free. And since then, I lost around 11 pounds. I still consume a little gluten sometimes, but it's way less than I used to before. Thank you for everything."
Oh, amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, good job, Athelia.
11 pounds in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And that's great that you're, that you've found a balance. Like she's not like 100% in it. Like it's hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
She's like, I've had a little bit, but still 11 pounds.
No, that is great. 11 pounds in 3 weeks is nothing to ignore because that means you're really on a great track, on a real good doing great progress. And we always say like you should be like, if you're trying to lose weight, 1 to 2 pounds a week is great because it's sustainable.
Yeah,
of course, if it's more
different.
It's okay. If it's less, it's okay too. There's no pressure.
If it's like 1 pound every 3 weeks, that's something. Keep going. Honestly, the reason why a lot of sisters lose a lot of weight with going gluten and dairy free, most of the time it's because your insulin levels drop. And when that happens, you're not storing what you eat as fat as much, and water retention goes down. And that's amazing because like the swelling in your hands and face and feet and things like that go down, and you start losing weight easier and like seeing the results you deserve rather than eating a low calorie diet with gluten in it and you're still swollen and you're still like, having problems.
That's why, like Tyne said, a lot of times it happens in the first couple of weeks because your body has like this shock that like, oh, finally we're reducing inflammation. Finally, we're reducing insulin resistance. And it's just like your body's like kind of like, okay, let's do this kind of a thing. So great job, Athelia. We're very proud of you and keep it going. And we're always here to help you along the way.
You go, girl.
Alrighty. That's coming to the end of the podcast. I am starting to sweat again.
We need to turn the
seal is
air
being
on.
broken. And we are in need of air conditioning. But,
thanks for listening, sisters.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll probably go and film some TikToks now. Who knows what we'll do.
We're in a filming mood.
Yeah, but everybody have a good and safe weekend or a good week. And just take it strong, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come check out the Sisterhood. It's my monthly membership site where sisters just like you are learning how to move through the stages of PCOS. From stage 1, cold and alone at the doctor's office, to stage 5, nailing the PCOS lifestyle, gluten and dairy free. Get ready to finally feel in control of your body again.